Hello and welcome to the show. There has been a new Forza car back, so that means some more vehicles for me to go and test out. I'll be honest, perhaps not quite the same excitement as we had in the last one with a racing truck. Still, though, some half-decent cars, some interesting cars. We've got the new Cadillac CTS-V that I'm going to be testing today. I wish this had been in Forza when we did the four-door sort of super saloon showdown. I do quite like the CTS-V, and I'm glad to see this now appear in Forza, so I'm going to max the car out and see how it will fare. It'll be quite interesting to compare it to the likes of the Dodge Charger, as that has been around here, the Charger Hellcat, and of course the CTS-V Coupe. To the upgrade shop. Now, choices of engine. I'm not going to swap the engine in this car. Normally I would go for the most powerful engine, and we can put the 6-litre V12 in the CTS-V, and that I would expect to be a bit more powerful than this standard engine when it's fully upgraded. I'm hoping, though, that we're going to get maybe 1,000 plus horsepower from the standard engine. We should have a lot of torque as well, as you can see from standard. We can also put the NASCAR engine in here as well, so there's some decent choices of engine for the Cadillac. We shall, since we're here, start by putting on some aero parts. We've got a little bit of a front splitter going on, and we've got two wings going on at the back. Fantastic. Yes, I want a double, an interesting double wing system. Yes, I do want it though. Right, I'm already liking this car. I'm already liking the CTS-V because we can have a peculiar double rear wing. Some racing tyres. Of course, the big downside to this car, the downside with vehicles like this in this series, it is going to be pretty damn heavy compared to some of the other cars. However, that's some decent front tyres, 295s on the front of the CTS-V, and we're going to have, I'm assuming, three 55s on the rear. So kind of one stage up from what I was expecting at best. So they are some hefty tyres on this car. This could be very fast, actually. This could be very fast indeed if it handles well. That is, of course, there is a lot of weight to move around. Now, we are going to save some of it as we go through with these upgrades. We may get it down into the low £3,000 when we get to the weight reduction segment. I think it's probably unlikely to be able to get it into the 2,000. I don't think that's quite going to happen. I think there is a bit too much car here to quite be getting it down into the £2,000. But there we go. The PI is gradually going up. The race weight reduction will probably jump a fair amount of PI because the weight is the big thing. I think at the moment anyway, at least keeping this car back. Now, the roll cage we are going to want, although that's a fair bit of weight added. Fingers crossed. Here we go, weight reduction, please. Yeah, kind of what I was expecting already, £841 out of the vehicle. Yeah, kind of what we were really expecting the car to do. Now, things like the exhaust, I am hoping will save a fair bit of weight. Also, we are not quite up into R class yet. Okay, engine, just keep adding on the power. These ones here aren't adding on quite as much as I was hoping they would. I'll be honest, it's sort of only 18 horsepower in there. I was a little bit hopeful for a bit more. Ooh, that's more like it, 116. 815 horsepower so far in this vehicle. We shall keep going. 857. It's going to be quite close. It's going to come down to how much the supercharger upgrade adds. Supercharger, please give me a lot. Well, if these added sort of 30 instead of 19 and so on, that would also be helpful. Supercharger, save us. It's close. 98 horsepower added by the supercharger, 974, and I doubt the oil and cooling is going to be enough. That's only one stage of it. 983 horsepower, 851 torque, though. That is a lot. That is an awful lot, in fact. We can't quite crack the 1,000 horsepower. We haven't quite got another vehicle which the standard engine will make the 1,000 horsepower. That's a little bit disappointed. I was kind of hoping that it would. Still, 983 horsepower is not exactly a small amount. That much is for sure. And as I said, the torque is that's a pretty high number, 851. So, yeah, Okay, Cadillac, let's go and... the PI isn't actually that high either, so let's go see how you fare. I think that the handling is going to be the interesting factor with this vehicle. Of course, for testing out our CTS-V, we have come to the Virginia International Raceway, where the Cadillac will have 5 laps to go as fast as possible. Now, our current leaders, the Toyota NASCAR Bugatti Veyron, our Lamborghini Diablo, I should include that one now in this, are unlikely to be troubled by the Cadillac. They were, well, the top 2 were in P class. The Diablo was just ridiculously fast. I don't think this is quite going to have the performance to really be getting near them vehicles. The interesting thing is where is this going to fare against the older CTS-V Coupe and the Charger Hellcat. They've got a 110.4 for the CTS-V and a 110.5. They are incredibly close to one another on the leaderboard. So, will this CTS-V be able to go faster? Will we ever be able to stop spinning the... There we go. We will stop spinning the wheels when we put it into... Oh, have we got a million gears? Okay, well, 8 gears. It's close enough, really. We have got much in the way of gears and not much in the way of brakes. Admittedly, I was prattling around with gears a little bit too much. Okay, we don't quite get stopped into that turn 1. We're going to have to be wary, I think, through that section. There is a lot more weight behind this car to get slowed down than we have seen from various vehicles, and certainly when you're comparing it to the likes of the Diablo that was the last car around here. That is, yeah, and a little bit of perhaps an unfair comparison to the CTS-V, but we're going to have to be wary into that turn 1. We're also going to have to be very wary on the power, because it really is very, very happy to be going sideways. Actually got a little bit up onto 2 wheels there. That was not quite what I was expecting from the car. Oh, God, bloody hell. We do eventually get slowed down for there. Right, how do we do on power delivery out of this final corner? It's okay. I think we've got to do a little bit of short shifting because there are so many gears in this car. I think we're going to have to sort of be where we would perhaps be in 3rd, or maybe sometimes 4th. We want to kind of be in 5th with this car. Because the gear ratios are so short, it's not helping with the wheel spin. I did manage to just clip the tyre bundle on the inside. My bad there. Yeah, it's... The gears are a little bit difficult to work with in some respects, because I don't want to be sat in too high a gear and just simply not be going anywhere. However, we are fighting a little bit with the wheel spin. It's not quite what I expected from a car with, well, this ridiculously sized tyres. Normally, when you start getting up to, 345s, 355s on the rear of a car, yes, even in these conditions with this much power and torque, normally they're okay. Oh no, we're going to be in trouble here. We're going to be in lots of trouble here. I got the rear wheel on that wet grass, and as soon as you've done that, that's normally you're in trouble. Now, I have actually tended to be quite lucky in catching cars down there. This is the first one that's gone off for a big explore for quite some time, but yeah, it did not work. Right, 5th gear. 5th gear is what we want out of that final corner. A 15.4, yeah, it wasn't a particularly good lap. We're going to get a clean lap eventually out of this car. 171 miles an hour down here. Actually, a little early on the brakes. Okay, I shall bear that in mind for the next time around. Yeah, it's not the quickest accelerating of vehicles down that straight curb. Probably not a good place to be. Come on, car, come back to me through these rather slidey corners. Well, we're up on our last lap time through there, which is always good. We're going to bounce ourselves across the curb. Aside from that one slight 2-wheeled moment that I wasn't expecting, we've had no real problem with the curbs. 4th gear, maybe just leave it. 5th gear seems like a good gear for getting out of these corners. I can put down a fair bit of power and the car still accelerates pretty damn well. We're doing the kind of low 90ish miles an hour around that turn, and I just daren't push the car any faster. I don't think we really have the grip to do that much quicker. Right, 5th gear again, and then we can be flat out of that final turner. Okay, we're into the 1 minute 11s with this vehicle. Can we get... I need to find a little bit more time. Now, I think we can be slightly braver into turn 1, and indeed we are this lap around. Although... oh, yeah, it's not quite got the... It's not quite got the grip. I think it's just a bit too heavy. That's kind of what it's feeling like to drive. It's a little bit too heavy, and things like the Charger, I have to say, the Charger did feel a bit nicer to drive than this. In fact, the Charger Hellcat was really quite good around this circuit. This does feel like a bigger, like a heavier car than the Charger. The Charger did have slightly more power than this, not by very much. Oh no, come on, I got excited. I saw the split time. I saw that we were doing well. I got excited trying to put the power down, and we've lost some time, and we were all out of position for that corner as well. It's going to come down to this final lap. I think this lap should be a better one still. I'm not sure it's quite going to be good enough to challenge the Charger or the coupe version. Yeah, it's better out of that final turn as well. 110.6 is right there. We've got a couple of tenths to find. If we hadn't got sort of a little bit sideways out of that corner, I think we were perhaps on for the sort of lap time that we want. Now, I did brake a little bit earlier. I got turned in, though, through the first corner better, so we actually aren't out as wide through the next part. I think that was a neater run through that opening sector. Indeed, we have gone a little bit faster. Now, keep everything under control. Despite all of the mountains of power and torque, if we can behave ourselves with the throttle, it is okay down here. Now, let's not get in much trouble here. This is where we lost the time last lap. Don't spin the wheels. We're finding time here. This is good. This is looking good for a quick lap time. We have not spun the wheels, although we are... it's really a nightmare through there. If you don't get it right in this car, you are punished incredibly severely. Bugger. Admittedly, I wasn't right last time, and if I can keep the 4/10 of a second up, I would be quite happy with that. Try to be careful on the throttle out of that final turn. Run towards the line. We did it! In fact, we did find a 10th in that last sector, a 110.1 from the CTS-V. I could have definitely got that into the 9s. I know I cocked up one of those corners. It just doesn't quite turn in the same way that I was sort of expecting it. I've kind of come accustomed to some vehicles. Yeah, it feels big, it feels heavy, basically. The Charger did feel like a bit nicer a car to drive. This is, yeah, at times a little bit uncooperative, and I think sluggish would be unfair to it, but in comparison to some vehicles, that is perhaps the easiest way to describe it. However, if you do drive it smoothly, if you drive it cleanly, there is still plenty of performance available. After all, getting a 110.1 is pretty damn good going, as it will put the vehicle into 10th place. It beats the BMW M6, the Porsche 550 Spider, the Jaguar XF RS. It will become the fastest four-door vehicle to take on this challenge. Yeah, you know, it loses out to the likes of the Vanquish, the McLaren 570, the Lotus Type 49, etc. That is perhaps not too surprising, especially considering the PI of the vehicle here. Yeah, not a bad lap time, although, as I said, not perhaps quite the nicest of cars to drive. You've really got to, find where you can push it and where you really can't quite get away with it. However, it is now time to see how fast the Cadillac will go in a straight line. Of course, to find that out, we have come to the Le Mans circuit. Now, this CTS-V doesn't really have the power to compete with the very top of the table. We're not expecting it to be doing 270 miles an hour. However, the, again, interesting area is, will it be able to beat the Charger Hellcat? It's unlikely to be able to beat the Jaguar. That did have the V12 in it, but this could well go quicker than the Charger Hellcat, and the older CTS-V Coupe is only a mile an hour down on the Charger. So where it's going to fit in with them is perhaps the most interesting competition that it will have here. See, let's not fiddle around with the brakes. Don't need to be worried about that. Aero, though, we want to be getting rid of as much as we can. It reckons it'll get to 60 in 2.9 seconds. That is pretty damn impressive. It's currently reckoning 225 miles an hour. See if extending the gears we can get a little bit... No? Are we not going to get... I would be surprised if this can't get up with them vehicles, to be honest. Seeing as... Yeah, it really doesn't think that it can do much. About 225 is, I'm guessing, sort of the aero limit of the car. That is interesting, to say the least. Well, admittedly, this has got, of course, stupid amounts of gear ratio, so I'm just trying to sort of mess about and see. This would probably have us fastest in sort of 7th or 8th. That'll do. That'll do, basically. I'm not quite... We're going to have really stupidly short gear ratios to start with, and we'll see. I am, yeah, quite surprised. I would have very much expected this to be roundabouts that 230, but yeah, well, we shall see. The benchmark has, after all, been wrong with vehicles, slightly wrong with vehicles in the past. It's never been massively wrong, though. I don't think I've gone faster than a benchmark. I've equalled it and gone slower, but maybe we will have a first. Maybe we will have a first in this one. Yeah, I'm not sure that these gear ratios are going to work. But basically, we're going to change up into 8th, and then that's going to be it with the way that this works. Well, I mean, if it does the trick, it does the trick. That's pretty a fun place to end up being. I don't suspect the bumps are going to cause any problem. We had no issues up into turn 1 at Virginia, so I doubt we would have any problems as we come down here. We are going to hit 180 miles an hour as we round the corner, and then that is it, pretty much done in terms of gear changes. And I'm not sure that this is going to work because we seem suspiciously close to the limiter here. We're going to extend these. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the benchmark. That does not seem right to me whatsoever. So let's go and do that. And I reckon it's slower, but I'm 6 gears were good, you know. 6 gears were fine with cars. I don't know why we need. I do know technically why it's for, you know, the higher gears to sort of run down motorways to cruise it and save fuel and so on. But it's a pain in the arse when we're coming to do this sort of stuff with a car. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be challenging the Hellcats with this one. It's 221 miles an hour, 222. We may get the 23. No, we're stuck at the 222 miles an hour. We will make the turn, absolutely no problems whatsoever for the CTS-V, but it isn't massively quick. It isn't massively quick. I am, yeah, a little bit surprised by that. Perhaps, yeah, it's a little bit less power than the Hellcat, but it's not by very much. That was just over 1,000. Very similar power output to the coupe. That had the NASCAR engine in it, yes, rather than the standard one. But again, that fully modified comes out with a very similar power figure as this one is running. But both of those cars were over 10 miles an hour quicker than this Cadillac. So yeah, a little bit surprised in that one. The straight line speed for this car will put it into a joint, where is the, there we go, joint 36th place with the Mercedes 280 SL. The BMW X6M is quicker than the CTS-V in a straight line. It does, though, beat the Subaru Brat, the McLaren 570S, Mazda RX-3, Plymouth Fury. It loses out to the front-wheel drive Volvo, the 850R. The 850R has actually held on really well for a massively overpowered front-wheel drive car. On this table, it's 228 miles an hour. Is, yeah, surprisingly respectable. CTS-V is not, though, the quickest car in a straight line. Pretty decent around the track, although it does feel a little bit sluggish. You'd have to fight. Say you have to fight the car a bit. Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't feel as agile or as willing as some of the other vehicles. Although, you know, the lap time is still pretty damn good going. I do very much like the car, though. I think it looks fantastic, and I am very glad indeed to see this make an appearance in Forza 6. However, that is going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.